Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing dire of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the warring forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Thought you'll never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network, where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition World of Darkness Chronicle set in the city of St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Kent on all social media, and I am the lead storyteller of St. Pete by Night. And it's Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle that's set in the city of Tampa, right across the bay from St. Petersburg, where a pack of Garou have established a Sept of the new Garou nation that is looking to retake the Tampa Bay area from those dastardly kindred, and they've done a pretty good job so far, but they are combating some threats that have literally started growing up from the ground. And those threats have been taking on and evolving into some very, very dangerous and scary new formations, some that they haven't even witnessed with their own eyes yet, but that our players have learned more and more about as the chronicle progresses. And I know personally that they are not looking forward to facing themselves, but I'm looking forward to sending their way soon enough. That being said, this is episode 60, y'all, and that is a crazy, crazy achievement. So if you've been with us for all 60 episodes, wow, that's a lot of time to invest into something. So I'm proud of you for doing so, but also thank you for being along for this. If you're just getting involved, you've got a lot of catching up to do. We're on the road to 100 episodes, so you better be saddled in and buckled up for this long ride we still have to go. That being said, I couldn't tell this long and winding story without some amazing players to help me do so. So let's introduce those crazy, wild, invested players now, shall we? Players, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves, if you please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne, Blue Avian with hot, sexy worm breath, whatever you want to call me, and I'll be playing Aspen Weiss, Phylodox of the Silver Fangs.
Hi, everybody. I am Nori, and I'll be playing Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hi, everybody. I'm Walks, and I will be playing Lucas Shaw, Ragabash of the Shadow Lords.
Hey everybody, my name's Preston. I play Jason Dreams and Decay Thorn, Theurge of the Bone Gnars.
Champ, that introduction was some bullshit. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway, players, as we said, the threats have continued to mount, literally sprouting up from the ground. And in an attempt to gain some information about the condition that is afflicting your very own Jace Dreams and Decay Thorn, the group split up, going in two different directions to gather said information, going to the hospital to gather some information from a nurse of sorts that seemed to be a little more than meets the eye when Jester and Jace went to meet with a contact of Eliza's by the name of Ivy, who worked at the hospital, but upon further investigation, seemed to be more than just a human, but instead was just a spirit inhabiting a human's body. And then Lucas and Aspen went to visit Spud, bringing a bag of fertilizer, dropping it off to be inspected from a scientist's point of view. And I use scientist very, very loosely, as Spud takes science in a whole new direction. But now the group has come back together, taking different paths, going in different directions, and looking for more information, as our story tonight begins with a phone call, as Jace, after a rather disturbing dream, well, what started with a good dream, but had some rather interesting messages or interesting notions kind of throughout that dream, added some paranoia to the mix, makes a call home to Olivia, his former packmate, but a packmate forever in his heart, to check in on how things are going back home. So Jace, you haven't exactly been allowed to leave the cairn as easily or as freely as you once were allowed to ever since this affliction was discovered. After being exposed to the spores, you've been considered compromised. So you've been kind of kept under watch and basically quarantined at the cairn, where you've been on a regimen of sorts of different medicines administered by Eliza, who has been trying to mute the effects, or basically testing different things on you to see how they would affect this affliction that you're under. And for the most part, it's been okay. It's nothing that's been, too detrimental to your day to day, but she's been basically trying different things, including teas, including, herbs and smokables and different varieties of things. And some days she doesn't even try anything at all. Being in the cairn is in its own right a way to help soothe you and to take away the effects. But she is trying to break any hold that it may have on you. But the days that she doesn't test anything are the days that the soothing, non-disturbing dreams return. And when that happens, that's when you know it's not good. Or at least that's when you're told it's not good. When you have those dreamless nights, that's when you know the hold has been broken. So when you ask to make this phone call home, you're told you're going to have to leave the cairn in order to do so. So Charles offers to give you a ride off-site, to escort you off-site to a good enough distance away to get you a cell signal away from the cairn. He'll offer you your privacy, but he's not going to be far enough away just in case something tries to get a hold of you and drag you away. He wants to be close enough nearby that he can snatch you and drag you back if he needs to, but he'll afford you enough privacy to make your phone call. So as he drives you off. He actually takes you back to your bar in downtown Tampa, parks outside the bar, gets you there early enough in the morning that the bar won't be open and that there won't be anybody nearby, parks outside, lets you go inside the bar, and he waits outside in the car as you head in, pull out your phone, find the number for Olivia, and dial. The phone rings a few times, and then it picks up. Hello?
Morning, sleepyhead.
Hey. What's up, Jace?
Aren't you supposed to be up already? Like, don't screenwriters get up in the break of dawn before the sunrise to get all that writing in early?
Fuck no. What are you talking about? What are you doing up this early? Bartenders don't get up this early.
I don't sleep.
Well, that's new.
Among other things. No, I haven't really done a check-in and just wanted to see how everything was going up there.
Oh, I mean, same old for the most part. Now,
Good.
Olivia, also known as Pursuer Quill, when you think of her, you remember her short-cropped, dark black hair, her very deep eyes, like pools that stare deep into your soul, her slender face. You can think of the deep black leather jacket that she's often sporting. The galliard of your pack, of the Ghost Council. She is a screenwriter. Not necessarily a successful one, as she was pretty much trapped in Ohio, as most of you were, but it was never felt like a trap. It was a choice. And most of the work she did was under a pen name and was usually sent off to be credited to somebody else. She'd send off scripts to LA or Chicago or New York. And she didn't do the writing to take credit for it. It was a love of the game type deal. She enjoyed what she did. The fight for Gaia was more important. But she wasn't going to give up on her passion. Hearing her voice again, even after the dream, brought some comfort, but you couldn't shake the message you heard in the dream. That yearning to come home. And even though she said, same old, is it? Hey, give me a second. Let me get some coffee started. I want to hear all about how things are going down there.
All right. Yeah. You still doing the quad shot?
You know me.
Mm-hmm. So same old, huh? Just run-of-the-mill stuff?
I mean, for the most part, we got word from up north actually that they got something brewing up there and they're looking for some help.
That should be interesting.
Well, things have been quiet down here. We're thinking about sending somebody up there to check it out and see what they need before we invest too heavily in what's going on up there. But, you know, one nation under Gaia, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Well, let me regale the Galliard on some stories then.
Yeah, tell me all about it. Pack in Florida. I haven't heard anything about that in a dog's age.
Yeah, the things that were brought to my attention that I told all of you when I was given this mission, assignment, duty, were a pale image of what it actually is down here. Yeah, the spirits are awry, leeches, kind of stuff. But the amount of things that are hidden and secreted here grow almost with each passing day. When I got here, as you know, I had to remain unseen. I couldn't let the other guru know that I was here.
You fucking rats.
I was doing as I was told.
I know. I wouldn't expect anything less, but
Yeah.
always, you can't swing a cat without hitting 6 rats somewhere in the nearby vicinity.
Yeah. Strangely enough, there's more rats here than I knew about.
Really?
Yeah. So it's the pack that I was sent down to help here, and then another pack has come in. One of them, I guess, had some issues with the litany on like first day, like coming in and meeting people.
On the first day?
First day came in, I think broke like at least 2 that I can recall. It could be more. Yeah. Really making
Even
the rats
you
look
weren't
good.
that bad.
I also tried not to mouth off to people bigger than me until I knew something about them.
Well, I mean, you're not stupid. Who's that stupid?
Other rats apparently. But yeah, so there's that going on. That was the thing that I was not privy to. We have got an issue with fucking Pentex here too.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Everybody has an issue with Pentex pretty much everywhere. It's just a matter of if they know it or not.
Yeah. Aware of it. Dealing with so dumb. Plants mostly.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. It's
Like they're
a weird...
killing plants?
No, making weird ones that
What, drugs?
No, like it's an actual plant. There's one that looks around. Found it like adhered to a tree. This other one has this bloom that pops out and shoots out this pollen. My dumbass was with the other Galliard, the Galliard here, and I don't know why this thing popped up into the air, and this pollen came out. I don't know why I jumped in and covered them, but I ended up inhaling some of it, and now I'm having to face a few issues because of that. But looking back, not the smart. I didn't really fucking know her at the time, so I don't know why I jumped in. But she's overall fine.
Are you sure you just haven't been watching Last of Us?
Haven't had a whole lot of time for TV, but I played the game though.
Oh, okay. So there's plants that are shooting pollen and climbing trees and watching you.
Oh, and there's one that attacks Guru, so there's that too.
And one that attacks Guru.
Yeah,
and these are. You think Pentex is responsible?
There's been the roads that we've been following, the different leads, pull between a few different companies, but lead back to Pentex.
Why would they work with plants? That's like the opposite of what they do.
It was drastically different than what we dealt with up there.
I mean, they've taken the cover of green initiatives before, but it's usually been to hide whatever dastardly deeds they've been doing beneath the surface, to cover up the bullshit they're doing beneath. But they're actually working with plants and giving them some sort of sentience.
Yeah, and it's not just affecting this side. Umbra, it's hit pretty hard. The was latching on So the one that looked around, it latched onto the tree and left a big hole. Like when it was ripped out, big hole in the umbra itself. Guy is gonna be fine. It's a little hole to her. It looked pretty big. But and it's spirits are having issues too.
Really?
Weaver and Wild, one in a sense.
So there's like, from what it sounds like you're saying, there's some sort of crossbreeding, inbreeding, Frankenstein work happening.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. And when you pull out the plant, it shrivels up and almost dies instantly.
This is way above my pay grade. I mean, I can write about it, but I can't even begin to understand what that's about.
Yeah, it's weird witnessing it.
I'd say this make a good story, but I feel like this story's already been written 1,000 different ways.
Yeah, Liv, I'll be honest, I feel like I'm in over my head here.
This is exactly why you were brought down there. This is exactly what you were talking about. I mean,
Yeah,
now it's making sense more than ever why you needed to go. This is your calling.
Yeah, but my gift from Gaia is having issues. My
Wait, you're having spiritual impotence? Is that what you're telling me?
okay, you don't need to phrase it like that, but yeah, in a sense.
You need some Gaia Viagra?
If they have it, you know what? At this point, you know, the theurge down here, Eliza, she probably has already given it to me. She's had me on so many different kinds of ailments and drugs.
Well, what's going on?
That pollen that I breathed in, it's not just affecting me like physically. I was getting headaches, and then my vision would blur and it'd kind of go yellow. Eliza is worried and has a theory that it's affected my mind and spirit. My dreams in decay are no longer in decay, they are blissful. And it's beautiful. I was actually getting sleep. I had dreams of creeks and just sitting by them and not having to decipher what this meant or what was coming up next or how long I had or where this was going on. I was sitting in basically a peaceful meadow, birds chirping, bugs flying around. The most annoying thing were the flies around me. That's probably because I'm a rat. But I was able to get away from the decay.
I'll tell you that I'm happy for you, but that's not. I know that's not what you want. That's not what you need. I mean, a break is good, but it's not a break, is it? It's a sign of worse things.
Yeah. One of the most recent ones was you were in it. Had a dream about you. Easy, relaxed, not that kind of dream. Blissful, not that.
I'm not sure if I should be insulted or not.
Well,
it'd be weird. Let's be honest. That'd be really weird.
It would be kind of weird. But I got into this meadow again, and then you were standing there, and you were telling me that I needed to come home, that there were issues going on, and that the Sept there needed my help. So the hence my phone call. Just I want to make sure that everything is going okay there. I don't know if this was part of my gift in the sense of letting me know of things upcoming, or if this was part of the pollen messing with my brain further, trying to get me out of here.
I think that's something trying to send you away, Jace, because there is nothing wrong here. I mean, besides the usual, we got some leeches from Dayton trying to stir up some trouble, but nothing we can't handle. It's the usual. Like I said, a little bit of Pentex fuckery, but we've got it. Nothing out of the ordinary. As I said, we got some word from up north we're going to go check out, but it's fine. Everything's fine. You're needed there. Clearly, you're needed there. But if you're not doing well, if you think it's too much, you can always come home. But it sounds like you need to see this through. It sounds like they need you more than ever. And I'll ask Kat about some of this. I'll see what she has to say. I'll tell her what you've told me and see if she has any insight into some of this stuff. But if you're sick, I'm not even sure we could help you. This is unlike anything I've ever heard of, and you know I've heard of a lot.
Yeah. I don't like the feeling of being the burden. I came down here to help, and now they're the ones needing to help me to get this taken care of.
First off, you are never a burden. And if anybody ever makes you feel that way, you tell them I am going to come give them the ass kicking of their life. You are anything but a burden. You went there to help. And if you got hurt in the process, it's because you were helping. And I think if they're a guru worth their salt, they know that, and they're going to do anything they can to make it up to you, to make you better so that you can continue to help. You are not a burden. You're trying. And I think you're just the guru for the job. You gotta have some faith in yourself, Jace. We have faith in you. Rat has faith in you. That's why you were sent. No one else was picked for this job. You were.
I'll try.
You've got this. And when it's done, and when the plants have been dealt with, then you can come home. And we'll be here waiting for you. And everything will be fine.
I was asked probably about a couple weeks ago if I was sticking around or not. I told him I don't know. I told him that I was sent here to help. The plants are just one issue. The spirits here are they're pissed, and they have every reason to be. With what happened and what's been going on. I don't think my work here is going to be done for a very, very long time.
Are you going to go falling in love with the sandy beaches of Florida? You're going to go falling in love with the humidity?
You know how I feel about sand?
It's coarse and it gets everywhere.
That's it.
Well, you've always got a home here.
I might come up and visit at some point when things calm down a little bit. We'll see. I'll keep you posted, though. One one other thing that you can let Kat know is it's on a little reconnaissance with a one of the ragabashes down here. His name's Lucas. He Shadow Lord, so fun.
Those assholes.
He's definitely an asshole. But he directs it differently. He doesn't like project it onto the pack too much. He points that towards others. But the little mission that we went on, I was looking into the Umbra to see if we had anything to deal with on the other side, other than the weird cross spirits. Everything seemed relatively normal, except I was hearing voices, and there weren't any. Like, I didn't see anything. And then Lucas, he was looking around. He didn't hear anything. I got closer to where I thought the voices were coming from. It was this garage to this house. And got there. There's a lot of fertilizer in there. I don't know much about gardening, but a lot of fertilizer. They kept saying, "Come with us, come with us." We actually met the person that lived inside the house. Some guy. Odd. Really odd. I gave up a quick little ruse that Lucas and I were there to inspect the garage doors at, late at night. But got into the house, and same type of plant was sitting on their dining room table, along with, I'm assuming, the guy's wife and their kids, staring, almost not blinking, and smiling, big smiles the entire time. But the reason I actually follow this guy is there was this pole, almost like a chain attached to his back to my chest. As soon as he walked in, I wanted to follow. There was nothing I wanted more than to get into that house.
So you felt like you were out of control. Or that
Yeah.
You were compelled.
Mm-hmm. And there's a Naroon here. His name's Charles. Dealt with a lot of leeches. I asked him if there's anything like this. He's like, yeah, but there's no leeches in the area. So, Lucas did notice that something was going on with me. He was able to get me pulled out, but trying to leave, that draw was still there. And then we were watched by another guy across the street as we left. And as we got further away, my head was pounding. It wasn't until we reached miles outside that the headache wasn't as severe. And then when we got into the actual bond of the carrion, it ceased. But I'm hearing things, and my vision gets a yellowish aura almost around the outside of my peripherals. And that I've never experienced anything like that. The leeches we dealt with in Columbus never had anything like that. So I don't think it is that. I believe, Charles, I don't think it's that.
Okay. You hear the sound of a pencil scratching on paper at this point on the other end of the phone. I'll talk to her about it, but this is unusual. Like I said, nothing I've ever heard of accounts for this. I mean, there's a possibility, and I'll tell you based off of what I've read about, what I've heard about, stories I've heard. There's something that the leeches do called the blood bond. And it's when you ingest their blood, and supposedly these don't work on us, but who knows,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But you drink their blood, you can be compelled by them, you can be controlled by them. Maybe the pollen works like that too. Maybe when you ingested the pollen, you kind of got bonded to them in some fashion, to the point that there is some sort of compulsion there, or some sort of control there that links you to them. That's the only thing that makes sense at this point. The seeing yellow, the feeling a connection to them in some way, even the hearing voices. If the plants are the X factor, are the connecting thing here. I mean, you said you saw one of the plants on the table.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that this situation has in common at this moment, based off of your description. If the plant is the key, is the connecting thing, you ingested pollen from that plant. Maybe something in what you ingested bonded to you, and therefore bonded you to it. Now, from what I know about these bonds, they wear off over time, but that's with leeches. You'll go through a withdrawal period, which couldn't be the headache, but also the headache could be because you were going against the bond, because you were acting out, resisting it, or fighting it.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's happened with these servitors before, when we've taken them away from their domitors, when we've taken them away from their bosses, like their ghouls. When we've tried to pull them away from their bosses, when they go into withdrawal, they start to experience side effects. They start to hurt. So that could be something that maybe you were experiencing, but it wouldn't have happened as quickly, or shouldn't have happened as quickly as it did to you. I don't know. But the effects sound similar enough to give me reason to believe it's got a similar feel. So maybe that's something worth looking into.
Yeah.
The hearing voices, that's unusual. Like that's not usually a blood bond thing, but
Well, thing is, when I'm looking onto the other side, if I hear something, it's usually a spirit off somewhere, and I can eventually find them. That's the thing that boggled me. I was like, well, something's calling to me. I was trying to find it, but it was coming from inside the house, but nothing was inside at that time. And that's the thing that threw me off. So
nothing about that this sounds normal at all.
Yeah, and new places, new experiences, all the fun things down here in Tampa.
Try to write it down. I mean, in a safe way, because I'd love to have the stories of this, or maybe tell your Galliard friend to document all this, because we got stories to exchange at some point, because I want to hear all about it. This is uncharted waters for us. I've never heard any stories like this before, and I'd love to hear about it. But
you and Jester would get along great. She reminds me a lot of you. Little spit fuck, doesn't take any shit from anybody. And then you go too far, we'll smack you in the mouth.
Good. You need someone to keep you in line down there.
I don't need to be smacked. I smacked often.
Every now and then. I know you like to get distracted with your bullshit.
That's why I have a bar.
How's that going, by the way?
Split Helm is doing well. Money's flowing in pretty well. I'm mostly having to stay at the carrion these days, so Jester's actually watching the bar for me, and overall it looks pretty good. I don't see anything more broken than it was prior, so
that's gotta be driving you crazy, having to
driving me
see
nuts.
control like that.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I text her constantly, making sure everything's fine, and then she ghosts me, so I'm assuming she's busy or just ignoring. One of the two, but
Well, don't drive the poor girl crazy. She's doing you a
impossible.
solid.
She is.
It's
Just
not
taking
her
care of my
fault.
ant
You went
farm.
huffing plants.
There's one plant. Huffing plant. It's such a stupid move, too. I had no reason to do that.
Why did you do it?
I don't know. I think it might have been the conversation prior, brought up different familiar feelings, like hanging out with you, her being a Galliard, you being a Galliard. I might have been comparing the two. If it happened to you, I probably would have done it. I had hung out with her like twice, maybe 3 times outside, like one-on-one. So I don't know.
You're a good guy. That's why you did it.
Yeah, good guys do stupid stuff and get themselves killed, though.
You're not gonna die.
Not today, hopefully. Although someone else is driving me around, so we'll see.
Just be careful. And if she is like me, she's feeling really guilty right now. I would hate it if you did that for me too.
She did apologize, and I tried telling her that she didn't need to, and she
That's
continued.
not gonna be enough. She is gonna be beating herself up over this for a while. So just get better soon and make sure it was worth it.
Do what I can. But like I said, if when things do calm down, I'll try and make it up there. Or you can come down.
Yeah, let me see what this whole Michigan thing is about, and then we'll take care of this leech issue, and then we'll see about making a trip down there.
Sounds good. Yeah. Should probably get back before I'm dragged away by Mr. Silver Fang Suit Boy. So
Yeah. Okay, well, stay in touch. Take care of yourself. I'll send everyone up here your love, and I'll see what Kat finds out, and I'll let you know if we've got any insight into this. But you're in uncharted waters, literally and figuratively, and we don't have a whole lot to offer, but we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. Thanks, Liv. I appreciate it.
I love you. Please be safe. Know that I'm thinking about you.
I love you too. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Talk to you soon. As she hangs up the phone, what's going through your mind as you head back out of the bar towards the car, taking one last look at the bar that should be yours, that you should be getting ready to go to work in, but instead are leaving behind in the control of someone else once more?
He'll turn and lock the door, make sure it's tight, take a few deep breaths, and actually let go of the handle and walk away. As he's walking back to the car, slowly, not wanting to... He loves the carrion, but he's getting a little tired of being there every day. Thoughts are dwelling on Columbus and the problems that they are dealing with, but Olivia said that it's a little thing, nothing too big right now, which is comforting. There's not a lot that they can't handle up there. It's a very solid carrion. Small part of him did wish that there was an issue so he'd have an excuse to go home. But he's also happy there's nothing. Her saying that he belongs here, that this is a job for him, is a comfort, but that thought that he's not ready for the fight ahead does still sit in the back of his mind.
It's a job for you. But are you up for the job? That is a very, very heavy question that must make you worry. Do you have what it takes? You might be the man for the job, but you have to be ready to take on that job. Is it the right time? One way or another, you're going to find out. We transition now to the cairn itself about the same time in the morning, where we find Jester working with Eliza in the garden. Jester, you've had a lot of your own thoughts going through your mind. Of course, There's the guilt over everything that's been happening with Jace, his affliction, how he wouldn't be sick if he hadn't thrown himself in the way of that pollen to spare you getting hit by it. But there's also all those questions that spawned from that interaction with Ivy Summers at the hospital. A spirit, the connection, the familiarity from Ryder's time. All these memories that kind of flooded back. There's a lot of questions, and only one person who really has the answers, or at least some answers. So as you're working the garden in the cairn, Eliza, working a few feet down in the plot from you, her hands deep within the dirt. Dirt smudges on the front of her sundress. She doesn't even look over in your direction before she breaks the silence. What's on your mind, Jester?
Ivy is interesting.
She is.
She smells like pure spirit. Eliza, how is that possible?
Gaia works in mysterious ways.
And is she who I think she is?
I can't say for certain, as nothing is truly certain, but I've had my suspicions for a while now that yes, she is Holly.
You've been visiting her for almost a year.
Yes, I have.
And you didn't say anything.
What was I going to say?
I don't know. Maybe you had suspicions, especially when Ryder was here haunting me.
There's no point in tormenting the dead, Jester. Even if I could tell the spirit of Ryder that Holly was here, Holly would not remember him, nor he be able to be with her. All I would be doing would be torturing two different individuals and potentially subjecting them to harm. They can never be together again.
Why?
Because that's the deal that was made.
I'll stop and look at her. Okay, you know more to this story than you are letting on. Tell me.
In the last days of the Sept, when the Sept was going to fall, upon Holly's death, Grandmother Willow came to her in her final moments. and told her that she was with child. She had a choice. She could spare her child, but that she would never be able to move on. She would never be able to see Ryder again. She would never be able to pass on to the afterlife. Her spirit would be trapped. But her child would live. Or she could pass on, but her child would die and never see life. She chose the child. So, much like when we pass on, our spirits will be contained here. Her spirit was transferred to another vessel.
She doesn't remember anything.
No. All she remembers is what the memories of that particular vessel remember.
I saw pictures of her son. He is pretty cute.
Yes, Joey. I do know there are impressions of Holly in there. Obviously, you saw them. You wouldn't be asking otherwise if you hadn't.
She named her child Joey, which I'm pretty sure is most likely short for Joseph.
Yes,
She calls him Cricket.
yes.
Yeah, I saw some. Also, she felt just really familiar when I first saw her.
Yes. That's how I found her also.
Must be hard for you. Seeing her.
You would think so, but no. It's actually a comfort. When she was lost, that was the greatest tragedy for me of all. Because when Guru died, it's easy to view that as a terrible thing. But truthfully, it's an honor, a celebration that they've served. That they've fought the fight for Gaia. And now they get to go be with Gaia. They become one with Gaia. They've served their last watch. Their time is done. Their fight is over. And they're never truly gone. You know this better than anyone. When she was gone, unlike all the others, I couldn't find her. She was just gone. That's what hurt the most. I didn't know what happened to her. For 10 years, I didn't know what happened to her. Her and Orion were taken from me. and I didn't know what happened to them. Orion went into the Umbra and was lost, and in a way, I could piece together what happened to him. But her, I had no idea. She should have passed on. It wasn't until about a year ago that I was able to find the answers. That I was able to put the story together, that I was able to get all the answers I needed. But to go that long without it, to always wonder. She was like a daughter I never had. Now I have many daughters.
At least two. You weren't the only one suffering.
I know. I wish Ryder could have known that he didn't need to suffer alone. Perhaps if we had shared in our suffering together, we could have spared ourselves a great deal of heartache. And perhaps there would have been something for y'all to come to, rather than having to struggle through all this yourselves.
Maybe. I mean, I think stupid Garu Nation politics got in the way of that because he never really trusted that you were a stargazer. But I think both of you were still trapped in your own pain.
That's true.
I'll reach out and rest a hand on your shoulder. Not anymore.
She reaches up and touches your hand. No, not anymore. I suspect when she grows old and passes on, her spirit will join us amongst the trees. And perhaps then she will remember. But I cannot say for sure. Her transference was the work of Grandmother Willow, not the work of the cairn. And that magic, I suppose, worked very differently. Though similarly.
Was weird. Do you think it was because the cairn wasn't open then?
I believe so, yes. However, with Alara's transference, I believe it will work similarly.
So you're saying Alara becoming a spirit was something to do with Grandmother Willow too?
Oh, most certainly.
Think she'll tell me her story sometime?
It will be a very short story. You will have to put together a lot of the details yourself. I would not expect a long-winded tale, but if you can bribe her, I'm sure you can get some of the details.
Okay. Maybe when I do, I'll come back and find out what you know too. And then piece it together.
It took me some time to put together that was Alara. She must have struck a deal of her own. I don't even know what the details of that deal were.
Hmm.
She wouldn't even tell me, nor would Grandmother Willow.
Spirits are weird like that, huh?
I can't blame them. It's not for us to know, not always.
Fair. Speaking of spirits, I saw something wasn't like a memory. Um, when I walked across Lucas's table when he was still working on it, I got this vision of Alara and Aiden sitting in this circle of people. They were familiar, but I didn't know them, but they felt familiar. Um, and it looked like Alara was inspecting Aiden, and then they were both nodding at each other.
As she listens, Eliza gains a wistful smile as she kind of looks off in the middle distance. He's gaining acceptance, crossing over, so to speak.
So those people were the spirits that belong here?
Yes.
Okay.
She is his guide into his new existence. And he is learning what it is to be a spirit.
Okay.
We'll all go through that eventually. She's had more time to know what it's like, but she also remembers what it's like to be us. She's not that far gone, so she will likely be the bridge from this existence to that existence for all of us. Or perhaps when it comes our time, Aiden will be that bridge for us. Or perhaps I will be that bridge to you. Since I will likely be joining them before you will. Gaia willing.
Hmm. Yeah. It's good to know he's doing okay.
He's fine. He will be fine. We will all be fine. That's the beauty of this place, Jester. The idea of it is much scarier than the reality of it. We are not alone here. Yes, we sacrificed a great deal in this choice, but we gained a great deal more. We gained knowledge, we gained insight, we gained the ability to continue the fight beyond what should have been the end. And in a way, we're gaining the ability to see the end, whatever it may be, however long it takes. And there are others who made that choice also, who will understand the sacrifice.
I mean, that is kind of why I chose to do it. It was weirdly comforting.
We will be together, all of us. It takes time. Aiden is likely going to be a while before he makes the full change, before he is able to truly inhabit as a spirit. But if you already are having visions of him amongst them, he's doing quite well. He is shedding the anchors of what it was to be alive, accepting the beyond. It comes to Lupus Born a little bit easier than it comes to Hamid Born. We get a lot more tied up in our earthly selves. We have all these notions of what it is to be alive, what we think of as responsibility, unfinished business.
Complicated emotions.
Yes. That's why many of our kind go to the Shadowlands rather than become spirits.
Why did I get the vision from the table? I wasn't even touching. I haven't touched Aiden's tree.
It's not about a specific tree. This place is powerful. Every blade of grass, every grain of dirt, every leaf, even the fallen trees, like the wood that makes up that table, contains stories, contains power. What you saw, you were meant to see. You didn't need to touch a specific tree to see that story. That story came to you because you needed to see it at that time. Sometimes they come unbidden. Sometimes you have to go searching for them. You just happen to be open to receive stories because of your moon and your nature.
Right, you said that the meeting.
Be prepared. The more time you spend here, you're going to be flooded with stories.
Ask me in a few months, but it's not a bad thing.
Keep a notepad.
I have my little book. And then when that fills, I'll get a new one.
I'd probably keep a few here at the cairn.
It's should we tell Aspen about Ivy or wait until see what happens?
For now, I think that's best kept between us.
Okay.
There's no information there other than past stories, history. There's nothing to be gained from that knowledge. She is just a nurse. She is not a liability. She is an asset, for certain. But I would not wish to have her exposed any more than she is already to what we are or to the past that she left behind.
What if she starts noticing things in Jace's blood work? And I don't mean whatever the spores are doing to him.
I'm certain she will. But I think there are ways to keep her at an arm's distance. And again, I trust that silvery tongue of yours to do the work, to ensure that we can keep her satisfied without putting her at risk.
I'll try.
I know you will. And worst comes to worst, I do have certain abilities that can make her forget.
Okay. So, having someone in a clinic or a hospital that we are in contact with would be very useful.
Now you understand why I've kind of kept in touch rather than just leaving her to that life.
Yeah. You know, sometimes it still keeps me up at night wondering if we could have done anything for those people in the power plant if we'd had resources.
What we could have done was delayed the inevitable. We could have given them an easier transition, a smoother passing, but it would have been a passing nonetheless.
It's already too late for them.
That's why they were where they were. They had already been forgotten about, removed, erased from society. They were beyond rehabilitation. They were, and it pains me to say so, batteries. Resources. Much like that blood donation clinic. Now, that was a violent way to go, certainly, but I can assure you they did not feel anything. They were beyond feeling. I have thought about it myself many times. Since I was not in my right mind at the time, I had often wondered, had I been, could I have prevented it? Could I have guided you better? Could I have advised you or prevented Ryder from being so rash or acting so drastically? But honestly, anything I would have done would have either prolonged the suffering of those people and continued to feed the leech's efforts, or would have ended up in the same place, one way or another.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have thought we would have just gotten less attention from it.
That would have been nice. But we would have saved like maybe a few lives. Not them, but the people working in the plant that may not have known.
That is true. However, it did bring you together as a pack.
It did. It did.
We all need our missteps to grow. When I was young and brash and part of the nation, I had my fair share of errors as well.
As much as stories are good ways to learn, they're a pale comparison to experience. As much as I don't wish my experiences on anyone.
We just have to make sure something like that doesn't happen again. And we have to teach this new group of pups to make sure that they don't make the same mistakes.
They need a lot of teaching.
But we also have to acknowledge that they are going to make mistakes as well. And give them grace when they do so.
I know.
Well,
The gardening's not going to garden itself?
you read my mind. Let's get back to it.
Okay.
As she picks up the trowel that has been abandoned for these past several minutes, what goes back through your mind now that you've had this conversation, now that your suspicions have been confirmed?
A lot of what she said, well, suspicions confirmed on Ivy, but I think she's right that it's best not to push the past onto Ivy. Just let her be who she is and just, I guess, watch from a distance to make sure she stays safe. But at the same time, thinking on the past, it would really be good to have someone in a hospital if we need it for things like Jace or if we come across another situation like we did. Then circling back to Jace and just thinking, going to do whatever it takes to help him and make sure he gets better.
We transition now to our final scene of the first half of tonight's story. After a conversation at the last pack meeting, it was decided Bruce needs to know. The bikers have gotten too close, and their suspicions are getting a little too close to the truth. They are an asset, to be sure, and Lucas believes that they do have worth and value to be brought to the fight for Gaia. They served Ryder well. Perhaps they can continue to serve. Bruce has clearly some knowledge. Larry has some suspicions of his own. So a vote was called. And other than Jace, everyone voted yes, that they should know. So Aspen and Lucas head out to the biker club to talk to Bruce. And that's where our scene begins, as the two of you arrive outside of the biker club, a long, rectangular, black painted building, the windows boarded over, also painted black. You arrive earlier in the day before the activity is going to pick up in the evening. There are a few bikes parked in the gravel parking lot, but it's not nearly as busy as it's going to be later tonight. Many of the bikers are out at their day jobs, but you know Bruce is going to be there. You know Sticky Ricky's going to be there. You know Larry's going to be there. Most of the regulars that work throughout the day. But otherwise, it's a perfect time to meet, a perfect time to do the serious business that you want to do without too many others listening in. But before you head in, you have a few moments to talk amongst yourselves. The scene is yours.
All right, Lucas. So what are we thinking as far as what to tell them? I know for sure that my biggest caveat is to not let them know where we reside.
I think that's smart. If not for our, then their own good, because if somebody gets a hold of them, they'll find us. That puts us all in danger. Pragmatically, yeah, I agree with that totally. God, there's so much. We could start with what we are. That's the elephant in the room. That's the hard one.
Just gonna rip that Band-Aid off or ease into that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously not going to go full crazy mode in there. Yeah, let's. I think we start with that, and then, we get the what out of the way, and then we move into the why. I think the why is probably the most important conversation.
Okay. I'm gonna leave it to you. I'll be there for support, and if there's things that you miss, I'll fill in the blanks. Have you looked around in there? Have you checked everyone out?
Not everyone. I've been busy. Well, most of the time when I'm in there, I'm busy doing prospect stuff. But yeah, I can start doing that more. I'm not entirely comfortable with that. I know you keep wanting me to do it.
Why not?
Past things. Somebody finds out I'm doing that, that's going to get you in trouble.
I'm not worried about that.
Okay. I, believe it or not, have a lot of faith in you in that. So if you tell me that you'll eat that one, then I'll stand next to you and eat it too.
I think if you were meant to do something, you should do it. Just because you made a mistake or people saw it as a mistake. I wouldn't even say that it was a mistake in the grand scheme of things, but it's still what you're meant to do.
maybe. I mean, you really want me around the kids?
I think you're the best person to be around the kids. You have that little shit energy, but still have some authority, so I think it kind of fits well.
It's a delicate balance. It's hard. It's very hard.
You do it perfectly.
It's a gift, really. Okay. Yeah, let's do this. This is the first time I've done something like this, so yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
I'm here for you.
Okay.
Right. So as you walk up to the door, pulling open the heavy door, heavy metal anthem, kind of almost, you can feel it pulsating as you open the door, walking into the bar. The dim lighting accentuated by the halogen signs that hang on the walls. Sticky Ricky is in his usual post by the door, sitting on his stool, his heavy set frame consuming most of the stool under his weight, and he gives a big toothy grin to Aspen as she enters. Pinecone! Welcome
Rick
back!
back.
Good to see you.
It's always nice to see you.
What you here for?
I'm here to have a conversation. Lucas and I were looking for Bruce.
Oh, thought you were here to see me. But fine. I see business as usual.
No. You're always just the cherry on the cake.
I like cherries. Okay. Well, make sure you see me on your way out. And he kind of jerks the thumb towards the back hallway in the direction of the garage. Over behind the bar, Larry is busy stocking. He's got a big bag of ice over his shoulder as he moves over to one of the coolers and slides it open and cuts open the bag and starts dumping it. He waves a hand and in doing so almost spills ice on the floor, but then quickly corrects himself and continues to dump it into the cooler itself. You move.
Larry,
Oh, go ahead.
Larry, we don't do workman's comp, man. Just slow down. Just slow down, okay?
You're right as usual, Lucas.
Just careful.
As you head down the hallway, you stop at the door heading into the garage. Opening it up, you head inside and you can hear the sounds of power tools busily working away. You can see that a bike is primarily assembled, but there are a few pieces pulled apart on the ground. And you can see that Bruce is over to one side at a workbench, and he seems to be using a grinder that he's shaving off some of the metal on one of the pieces of the bike. So you can see that there are sparks kind of flying off of one of the pieces as if he's like trying to shave off some of the metal, trying to shape something to make it fit better, or trying to grind a piece to custom fit it that it'll fit better onto the bike. But as the door opens, he stops and turns, and you can see he's got some welder's goggles on to shield from the sparks. He's got a flat top and a goatee. He's got his president's vest on and got some big, thick leather gloves. He sets the grinder to the side. Rookie. Miss Weiss. Come on in.
Lucas will wait for Aspen to come through, and then he'll lock the door behind them and then follow her over to Bruce.
Find a place to sit and just kind of sit and look over to Lucas.
As you look around the room, there's the same folding table and chairs, Aspen, that you first met Ryder at. Over to one side, you can see the same ashtray that he'd had with his cigars from before, still sitting on the table, but it doesn't look like any cigars have been smoked since. It's just in its same ceremonial position out in the middle of the table, untouched, undisturbed, not moved, as if it just remains there ceremonially. Bruce pulls off the gloves and the goggles, tossing them over onto the workbench. What can I do for you? It's your day off, Rook.
Yeah. Still. I am like a dog with a bone. So when I get something in my mind, I gotta get it out. You remember that conversation we had last time you and me talked in private, right?
I do. Are we having the big talk today?
I took it, like I said, I would take it to the table, and the table voted, and yeah, that's why Aspen's here. We're gonna have a talk.
All right. Well, if we're going to do this, I'm going to need something to drink. He wipes his hands off on his jeans. He moves over to one of the cages, pulls out some keys, unlocks the chain, pulls open the cage, reaches in, grabs a bottle of Lagavulin and a couple of shot glasses, walks over to the folding table and sets it down, 3 shot glasses and the bottle, unscrews the top, pours out 3 shots and puts them in front of each of you. Ryder used to say, before a mission, we'd have to start with a toast, even before planning would begin. So, before we're going to have this toast, before we're going to have this talk, he lifts up the shot glass. Whatever may come, we'll face it together. Family comes first. Through hellfire and brimstone. And then he takes the shot.
Aspen will just sip it and then put it down.
Lucas will pick it up and kind of raise it to Bruce and to new beginnings. And he'll kick the whole thing back. All right. Let's not beat around the bush anymore. What do you know? Because that'll help us figure out where we're going to start. What have you seen?
Truth be told, when I joined up, I had just come out of the Corps. Hoorah. And Ryder, he had just come out of something pretty bad. He was in a way. I'll put it that way. He'd lost some people he cared about, but he's a military man, like me. He also served in the Corps. So he didn't talk about it. Even amongst his brothers, he wouldn't talk about it. But he had a chip on his shoulder, a bone to pick. And this wasn't something small. Whatever this was, it was big. And we were willing to do whatever it took to help him. That's what the Brotherhood's all about. But he said this was bigger and more dangerous than any of us could understand. But we pressed him because we won't see any of our own suffer. That's not how this works. We're family. You don't just leave your problems at the door here. It's not that kind of place. Your problems are our problems. So, we pushed and we pushed, and eventually he kind of started to tell us a little bit. He said that there were some high-ups in the city that had caused some problems. He made it sound like it was kind of like a mafia thing, but not a mafia thing. People in the government, people in business, people with connections, people in police. And he said that the best way that we could help was in these hit and run situations, distractions, or, drop offs, making calls, running things to places, securing stuff for him. Most of the time, he would go out and do things on his own. And truthfully, the things he would do were beyond explanation. How could one guy do the things he did? We're not stupid. You see movies, you read books. It's the 21st century. In TV and movies, how they never seem to have heard of zombies or monsters in the world where the zombies or monsters exist. That's not the real world. We know something fucked up's going on. Something is out there that we're not supposed to know about. Now, I know for our own protection, he couldn't tell us everything because he didn't want us to go looking. And with some of the kids here, I can't blame him. They're not all military. They don't have discipline. Shit, if I didn't keep Larry on a tight leash, I'm pretty sure he'd be dead. That kid is eager. He wants to do good. But the best good he can do is just being patient and learning and listening and growing up, honestly. I'd tell him to enlist, but with the state of things recently, I don't think that's a good idea. I'd rather he was here than dying overseas somewhere to something stupid and pointless. Now, I thought it was kind of an isolated thing with Ryder. He was the only one that came around. Until you all showed up. And the energy plant happened. And when a lawyer and a goth kid and a boho social media protester. And I don't even know what to say about the other guy. Man-child?
Good term.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good.
And then dreadlocks. All walks of life. Bunch of people who don't look like they'd all hang out together under normal circumstances. All show up, have a secret meeting with Ryder, and then all go off on what would be a military operation together. Go do the Ryder thing together, not the distraction thing, not the biker thing. They're in the job. More questions. It's a lot bigger than we thought. But if he trusted, if he believed, if he didn't think that you were a threat, and if he even thought one of you was worth dying for, to break some people we didn't even know out of prison, there must be a reason. It must be for a good reason. So do I know the exact details? No. But I have guesses. I know that some things only come out at night, and that the night times are the most dangerous, and that's when most of our work had to be done. So you can put 2 and 2 together on that one. What only comes out at night? I was around in the early 2000s. There was a pretty popular theme back then. And, well, what fought those things? It's not rocket science. But if I could figure it out, what else could? And the only reason we stayed loyal and didn't make a big deal out of it was because it was Ryder. And we loved Ryder, and we trusted Ryder, and we protected Ryder. And by proxy, because he believed in you and trusted you and died for you, we offer you that same loyalty. But I gotta be honest, it's pretty fucking scary to know that these things could exist. Because we're just people. And I don't like being out of control. So either you're here to tell me to keep my nose out of it, which I'm gonna tell you right now isn't gonna happen. I've never been good at that. Or you're here to confirm what I've already kind of known, and to kind of pick up where Ryder left off, which is fine by me and mine. But I'm always going to put my boys first and their safety first. And if I feel like it's going to become a problem, and I feel like that's not being considered, or if I feel like they are becoming pawns in a game, the arrangement's going to change. And I don't mean that as a threat, because I know I would be on the losing end of that arrangement right now. I fought Ryder for fun, and I never won. And he didn't try very hard. So I know things. But I would die for my people, even if it was just to give them time to get away.
I think a big part of you saying that is a big part of why we're here to have this conversation. And that's something that I agree with you. I don't want the club to be exploited in the situation that we're about to expose you to. So in that, I think it would give the rest of us a little comfort if we made some assurances, right? I don't, under any circumstances, think that you guys are gonna rat out what we're about to tell you. I don't. I've been around the club enough. I've learned enough. I've seen it. We're the people to keep their mouth shut. I feel that. But what we're going to tell you is most of the whole story about what's going on. And we're not going to do what Ryder did, and we're not going to force ourselves to be in charge. I think that I am not alone in this when I say that we very much want you to stay in charge of this club. You held it together after Ryder, and I think that's the hardest test of leadership a person could have. So me patching in and being a prospect doesn't have anything to do with me setting my sights on your position. It doesn't. I believe in what you guys do here, and I want to be a part of it. I want to be that bridge in between what we do and what you do, so that you guys can have as much of the story as is safe to have, but also if you need help, we come running too.
So a mutual arrangement, mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
I've been looking towards the future of this family, and obviously we're part of a bigger organization, or we were for many, many years. And to be honest, the greater organization has been taking a turn over the past several years in a direction that I personally haven't been fond of. And for the best intentions of this family, of this group, I thought it would be best to sever ties with the greater organization. So we have been looking to rebrand. So we're in the free agency period. So a new arrangement like this could be beneficial, because I know there are those in the greater organization that won't take fondly to that idea. So having a little bit of security would help. At least something to help ensure our safety and ensure that nobody comes to fuck with us. That does make me feel a little bit better. At least from an intimidation standpoint, I wouldn't expect you to do anything violent. We can handle our own business for the most part.
Good. But I mean, push comes to shove. You call us, we'll be there. Okay, so he'll look over at Aspen. I guess one of us. Do you want?
We're what you would call werewolves. We call ourselves Guru, but what you would call werewolves. Yes, vampires do exist among plentiful of other monstrosities, I guess you could say. And in the grand scheme of things, we're here to tell you what we truly are and what we truly deal with, because we want to work with you, not use you to give you the benefit of knowing, and for us to work together, because as you said, you care about your family and I care about mine very much. And I think together we can make sure both of our families stay safe.
So one thing that I never really got cleared up, I don't have to worry about like full moons or anything, right? That's not a thing.
I mean, it's a complicated subject, but no. Ultimate answer is no on that one.
You're not going to just bust up my bar when it gets to a certain time of the month. I mean, we already have one among our ranks that gets cranky certain times of the month as it is, but we try to keep her happy.
Is she ever really happy though? Like,
No, but
no, yeah.
happy enough. We just don't ask her to cook around 2 weeks.
No.
She's menopausal, so it's fine, but still.
Oh, yeah. Well, the moon is important, but it's not that important. Do you want to see kind of the thing?
I saw Ryder once. At least, I think I saw what I saw. It's one of those things I never decided to ask questions about. It was one of those, we secured a scene for him. He went in. He told us to leave. I never liked the idea. It was early on. So I tried to follow him in. When I went in after him, I realized that was unnecessary. Very quickly.
Yeah, it's kind of a built-in thing with us. We regular people don't so much like being around us when we're like that.
Wasn't that. I didn't feel any need to run away or anything. I felt like I'd just get in the way.
Lucas will look over at Aspen. You didn't feel a need to run away at all.
Should I have?
Was he big and bipedal, scary,
I mean,
rar?
like American Werewolf in London, yeah.
Right. Most people
I
feel
mean, bigger, but yeah.
Most people feel the need to run away. Yes.
I just assumed that was because he was tearing them apart, but
There's a natural instinct in humans when it comes to us for them to run or forget because of past histories.
No, I just drank a whole lot after that. That's all. That was the only reason it was a little bit fuzzy, because you see that and it's something you want to forget. But no, I didn't feel any need to run.
Okay.
That's
Gonna look over at Lucas. Maybe before we leave, you do a quick look around with your senses, you know?
yeah, for sure. Bruce, we're gonna come back to that at some point. We're gonna have a longer conversation about that because that's not usual that you're able to remember and you're able to just kind of look at it and be fine in the moments.
All right.
Maybe you're just a badass and that's just the way it works. But I mean, like I said, we'll put a pin in that and we'll come back to that. And so, yes, that's what we are. We're born that way. It's not like a bite or like a curse or anything. It's just one day we figure out that that's what we are, and that's how you end up with the group like you were talking about that makes really fundamentally no sense, but the fact that we are what we are brings us together. And like wolves, we form groups.
Right. I think that's what I'm putting together. That must have been what Ryder lost.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I never got to meet Ryder, but yeah, from what I understand, from what Aspen and what Jester and what Eliza and everybody has told me, that's exactly what happened to him. He had a pack, and he was the only one more or less left.
Okay, so vampires and werewolves.
Yep.
Well, that
We don't.
explains the violence and everything at night. That makes sense. So, why wasn't it an issue before? Why was it as much of an issue till recently?
For the last 10 years, Ryder, up until recently, Ryder was the only one here, which meant there were none of us keeping them in check. So they found their power, found their influence, found their way quite easily throughout the disguise of being humans and power and whatnot. And because we've come and we've disrupted that, I guess you could say, hierarchy, not sure of how their collective works all the way, but hierarchy is the best way I could explain. They have become desperate and erratic, and there's been more out causing havoc because they don't have a direction, which makes it more dangerous for everyone.
Well, forgive me for asking this, ma'am, but wouldn't that make you guys the problem? You disrupted their thing and now people are getting hurt.
People were getting hurt before that. It just wasn't as erratic and as desperate. They would use people as food. When we went to that facility that day with Ryder, it was because it was a farm for the leeches. Well, the vampires, we call them leeches. It was a farm of people kept sedated and drained of their blood so they could feed on them.
So they were just better
And
about keeping it a secret. Got it.
correct.
Okay. I withdraw my question. Hope it wasn't too offensive.
Not offensive at all. I'm open to questions. I know it's a lot all at once, and we've had some time to learn what we have. So
We go through a whole process, much like the prospect for our people, and it's very similar, which is probably why I adapted to this so quickly. Yeah, we teach our people, we train our people, and aside from the leeches, there's a much bigger thing happening worldwide with us. I mean, I'm sure you see it. There's shit in the water, there's shit in the sky, there's shit in the woods. It's everything is,
Well, like global warming.
yeah. The whole of the earth. Remember when we talked about this before, I said that, we were in a war and the stakes were everything. And that's not a joke. The whole world is the stakes in what we fight. We're trying. It sounds weird when you say it out loud, but we're trying to save the world as a collective people, and it's a tough fight.
Earth is dying because of an imbalance with buildings and pollution and corruption. Is at the simplest of forms I could say is killing the earth, and not just in a metaphorical way, but in an esoteric way, a physical way, a spiritual way. It is dying, and we're just trying to keep her alive.
So are you going to try and take my bikes away? Because I'm going to have a problem with that.
I think your bikes are the least of our problems right now, honestly.
Okay.
Very small piece of it. It's not. I mean, you could switch to electric, but they just don't have the same.
It's just
feel.
not the same. It's not
the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I agree.
All right. So I can't even begin to unpack the whole saving the world thing.
That's a
I'm just
bigger
gonna
thing. Yeah.
stick to the small stuff. That's all right. You guys can focus on all that, but okay. Why the secrets then? Why is it all so secretive? I mean, you're all powerful, and why the secrets? Why is this all such a big secret?
Unfortunately, humans tend to run on fear of what they don't understand.
I get that.
And while we can sit here and answer questions for you, we've seen from centuries and centuries that it's more fire and pitchforks than understanding and questions.
There's tens of thousands of regular people to every one of us. So we are outnumbered, even if we are powerful.
Why not tell them about the vampires then, at least, and just let the vampires get overrun?
It's a great question, and probably something that's been discussed at point, but the vampires, leeches, know just as much about us as we know about them. So if we
so it's like
them,
a tit for tat. They'll tell about us or about you, and okay.
Yeah, they would out us just as fast as we would out them, and then it's game over at that point. And there are people and organizations out there that do know, and they do actively pursue us and the leeches and other things. So it's already happening.
Also, we're more of a people are a part of Gaia. We protect all of Gaia. They use humans as collateral and are not afraid to mass murder thousands for their own goals.
Right. Right. So Dracula's a thing? What's real and what's not real?
Right. There are some misconceptions and there's some accuracies. Staking is definitely accurate. Stake to the heart isn't going to kill them, but it will, I guess you could say, make them unconscious. The proper way to kill them would be with fire or decapitation. As far as garlic saving you and, I don't know, thorny roses, what are the other ones?
Crosses.
Crosses. I don't think any of
Yeah.
those really work.
Holy water.
That I'm just going to say no because that gets very complicated, as I've
Yes.
found
Okay.
out.
That's another crazy conversation that we don't even have all the answers for, but
What
you
about
can also
what about silver bullets for you guys? I mean, I'm not threatening, just you know.
every rumor and myth is rooted in some form of truth. So yes, Silver and us, not so great. Um,
And
also,
are there like bad werewolves, or are they all like on the level with you guys?
Okay, that also gets very complicated. There's a lot that goes into this. Yes, there are not great ones. There are really, really bad ones. For the most, I assume that you will only be working with myself and Lucas and Jester and Artie and Charles, the suited one you saw here once before. We're kind of the ones you're going to want to deal with. If anything else comes to be or any assumptions or worries come, you can come to us and we'll look into it that way because it does get very complicated on that side. I think what we could use help with you guys is the leeches. Also, Lucas here is trying to get a foothold on this side of things because the leeches have had a stranglehold on the going-ons for a very long time. And if we can plug that power vacuum, then that keeps them from gaining a foothold in our city again. Also, she'll look over to Lucas. Do we want to go into everything?
I mean, we went this far.
They're strange plants.
Yes.
Plants with ice. Big bulbed tulip plants that if you inhale the things, you become a Stepford zombie. There are basically, if you see a really strange plant, stay away from them. Also, there are. Have you seen The Last of Us?
All right. I just got over the werewolf thing. Now you're telling me Last of Us is a thing?
I mean, you asked, so you asked us to tell you. I. It's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Okay. Well, we don't deal in drugs, so I think the plants thing should be fine. Um. Okay. So be on the lookout for weird plants and clickers.
We can get you some pictures of what plants to avoid as far as what we know now. Definitely, we just want to keep you as informed as possible as
No,
to what
I
the dangers
appreciate
are.
that. I guess get me a dossier. Just tell me everything I need to know, as much as I need to know. That being said, I think the thing that I want to address next is who knows and who doesn't amongst our people. And I think it needs to be a need to know thing. The more people know, the more chance of liability there is. I am fine having my guys look out for things. I'm fine telling them, hey, if you see something, say something to people, to us, or to you guys. But I don't think they should all know everything. For their own
Okay.
safety, for your safety, because I trust my guys, but if they know everything, one, like I said, they get curious. I can control them, but I can only control them so far. I am not going to imprison them. I am not going to. That's not our way. Also, if what you're saying is true, the more they know, the more valuable they are as a target. And I don't want them to be targets. I don't want them to be victims in this more than they could already be. So, other than a few specific people, my officers, it's going to be a need-to-know basis, a dissemination of information. I'll tell them to look out for the plants. I'll tell them to report on specific stuff, mission by mission basis. But I think it'd be best that they know only what they need to know as much as they need to know. For now.
I agree. I think as long as you can have communication with Lucas and anything that we find out, we can let you know. So you're in the know and you can keep your people safe and have a mutual understanding that way. And if we happen to need help on our side, we can count on you guys to help us out as well, as safely as possible, of course.
Of course. We're capable in a lot of ways. Okay. It's a lot. I'm not going to lie. But I can't say I didn't expect a lot of it. I can't say you didn't just confirm a lot of what I was already thinking. I was hoping a lot of it wasn't true. I'm not going to lie, but can't say I'm not surprised it was true. Shit. All right. Well, for Ryder, we're here to help.
We appreciate it. And before we go, Lucas, do you want to take a look?
Oh. Yeah, I'll take a deep breath and do set the true form.
Okay. Make the roll.
Wits and wisdom. 6 successes.
He is a Ghislaine.
Just nod and kind of half smile and turn to look at Aspen. Yeah. He's family.
Good to know.
We have a much longer talk later, Bruce. We're gonna have a long talk later.
All
Do you know a lot about your family?
I mean, yeah, but typical military brat, moved around a lot growing up. But it's a big family, several brothers, sisters. Military dad.
We're gonna run
Took
that
up the
one
family
down.
business.
Okay. All right.
So, get me the information, send me those pictures as soon as you can, and we'll follow up. Other
Sounds
than
good.
that, I'm gonna get back to work here. Get back to your day off, Lucas.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got other werewolf shit to do.
That's a really good term for it. It is generally referred to as that by us too.
So as the two of you stand up and you head out of the garage, Bruce gives a wave before heading back to the table. He goes to pick up his goggles, but then he just kind of leans on the workbench that just stares off into the middle distance. You're walking out down the hallway, and Lucas, suddenly you get a smell. A smell you haven't had in a long time. Garou. Garou that hasn't changed yet. Kin. You follow the scent behind the bar. And you look at Larry. And this is where our scene comes to a close. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story. See you shortly. Welcome back. In the first half, Jace put in a call home to check in on his old Sept after he got some disturbing words in his dream last week that had him questioning about the state of things at home, only to find out that things are fine at home. Some words from Michigan might have them go scouting, but otherwise, things are fine. Then, Jester talked with Eliza to confirm some suspicions about Ivy and to hopefully assuage some of her guilt about Jace's condition. And then Lucas and Aspen revealed their true nature to Bruce. But they also learned some interesting information about Bruce and Larry. Here, in the second half, we come upon Aspen and Jason as they go seeking the crow spirits that they had sent out to spy on Piney Point. So Aspen and Jace, where are you heading to seek out the crow spirits? Are you returning to the point that you found them originally, or are you going to somewhere new?
Aspen would suggest we go to where we saw them originally because it's their territory, it's in their area. So,
okay. So returning to the same location, you go to that same ditch off the side of the road where you had found a lot of the roadkill, that same intersection where many of these carrion spirits had been known to congregate. As you arrive at the location, looking around, you don't see the spirits in the immediate vicinity. There are other spirits nearby, but not those specific spirits. But the scene is yours.
as Aspen is getting out of the car, she's just gonna similarly start pulling things out of a bag, hand him a bag with a rabbit carcass in it. This time she's gonna hand Jason a jar of peanuts, unsalted peanuts, and then a little coin purse of just coins and little shiny trinkets, and hand him over as she grabs her purse for incense and things like that.
More gifts?
To entice them, of course.
Yeah, no, this is good. Yeah. I don't see them. We've got other things around right now, but I don't see them right now. So might entice pretty heavily this go around.
We'll see what we can do.
All right. Gonna carry the stuff and make his way down and start walking further in.
Okay. Returning to the exact location where you met before. Aspen, you start to prepare the same rite as you had before when you'd first summoned them, laying out the carcass, laying out the offerings, setting up the incense and the other supplies. You go to enact the rite to call them. Now, having had a familiarity with these spirits before, having spoken with them, you're able to tune in to the energy, to tune into them more specifically. So if you want to do the rite of spirit summoning, you will have a little bit more ease in calling them forward. The difficulty will be lowered to bring them or to call out to them specifically.
Okay. And add a dice for Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Four.
Okay. As you call out to the crow spirits, you hear off in the distance the flapping of wings. And up in the sky, you see the three birds come in from above the trees and start to circle. As they do so, they descend lower and lower and lower before three crows once again settle on a tree branch nearby. But their landing, as they do land, isn't as smooth. In fact, it's a little wobbly as they descend and settle on the branch. You can roll me either a wits and investigation or a wits and insight.
If I take a little bit more time to look at them, can I do an intelligence and
Yeah.
investigation? Okay.
Rage 1.
Rage 1, yeah.
Okay. 3.
Okay. And Aspen.
3. Yeah.
As you're looking at the birds, something about the way they appear. They're the same crows as before, but their eyes are a little hazier. Their complexion is a little more ruddy, a little more worn. Their features are a little more kind of slack. They settle on the tree and they kind of sway from side to side as they stare at you.
You guys doing okay?
You have called. You want information.
Yes. Were you able to gather any?
Yes. We went forward to that place. High we flew above the trees. Little could we see. Cloudy it was. Yellow fog obscured sight. So we went closer. Closer we flew. We learned much. The birds cock their heads to the side. They start clicking their tongues, and as they do, smoke starts to billow out of their beaks.
Can I do an intelligence and occult roll?
Yes.
Specialty with Banes.
Yes.
Right here. Okay. Six with a crit.
With the ruddy complexion, the billowing smoke coming from their beaks, you can smell the smell of sulfur in the air coming from the smoke. Yes, these were once carrion spirits. They are now what are known as firmlings. They are Banes, and they are about to spit balefire.
Do I have enough time to let Aspen know, or is it happening like right now?
You have enough time to move quickly.
Wait, to
They
push
are-
Aspen. We
They're
need to go.
building up to fire.
Gonna push her. We need to go now.
Yeah, seeing them talk about yellow smoke and all of that, she's already like, "Whoa, that sounds bad." So she's just gonna start running. Once.
Roll me a dexterity and athletics, both of you.
I'm gonna burn a will.
Okay.
1.
Okay. As you both start to run out of the kind of divot in the ground, gouts of greenish fire come shooting out of the 3 beaks from the tree branch, hitting the grassy ground behind you, igniting the ground. You can feel the heat swell behind you, just starting to sear and burn the back of your clothes. Both of you take an aggravated damage as you feel the green fire just burn and sear up the back of your clothes. You're running, but you can feel the back of you burning.
Looking behind us, are they following or pursuing it all?
You can see them taking off the branches and starting to fly. And you can hear the clicking as if they're preparing to shoot another gout.
How far are we from the car?
I would say you probably parked on the edge of the street, so you could make it there and get into the car this round. But with the balefire they're shooting, if they hit the car will likely explode.
Okay, good to know.
It is very hot. It burns extremely hot, supernaturally hot. It will probably melt the car or explode the gas tank.
Next question. Are our clothes on fire or anything?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm immediately gonna rip my shirt off.
Yep. Throwing jacket, shirt, everything off.
Okay. What's your intentions? As you rip off your clothes as you're running.
Trying to get in the car.
Okay. Do you want to jump in and just start driving?
I'm not gonna get in the car. If it's that hot and it can explode my car, I'm not gonna even let Jason get in the car. I'm gonna grab his arm and start running because we're kind of near like a wooded area, right? Because of the dip and the woods. I'm gonna grab his arm and start pulling him towards the wooded area. And then I would like to switch to Hispo once we get into the woods enough.
Okay. Roll me the shift. The rage for shift.
I'll follow her lead.
Okay.
My rage is good.
Okay, so as both of you drop down to all fours, shifting into the dire wolf shape, the fur spreading out amongst your forms, roll me another dexterity and athletics. This time you get the bonus from your form shifting. However, you do get the -2 because you are in shift without rapid shift. But I will say you do have the cover of the trees benefiting you, meaning that they are going to have a higher difficulty.
Two.
Okay. So as more of this greenish fire gouts out towards you, the trees are enough to cover you, Jace, as it hits the tree behind you and starts to engulf the tree. But Aspen, take another aggravated damage as more of this fire hits your back and starts to engulf your fur, burning up the back of your hybrid form, starting to singe the fur. Okay. Next round, declare your intentions as you are now in the forest.
How close are they to us?
They are now trying to weave their way through the trees, so they're having a little bit harder of a time. They're having to take up higher into the trees to kind of make their way through. There's a lot of branching covers, so you have a little bit of an advantage now to sneak your way or to run through the trees as the branches give a lot of cover. They just kind of got the opening of you guys going into the trees to hit you once more.
Gonna weave through the trees best I can, but still trying to like follow Aspen.
I actually am going to take the chance and just slip into Hispo to be smaller, to be less seen. And then I'm going to run until I can find a spot that could potentially give us cover and kind of nudge him with my nose into that space and try and hide.
Okay, give me the dexterity and stealth.
At this point, Jace is just following her lead. So
Okay. I will
Okay.
give you a 2 dice advantage on this as well, because you do have the cover of the trees, and they do not have the ability to get through the trees as easy as they are flying.
I got 3.
Okay.
also got 3.
Okay. So finding a good kind of den, a natural den coverage of, some undergrowth, you sneak your way in using your massive wolf forms. You are still able to kind of duck beneath some of the ground cover. You are still smoking, Aspen, from the burns on your side and on your fur, but burying down deep into the growth. You could hear the flapping of wings and as the birds continue to circle around the trees. They pass by a few times. You can hear them flying up above. But eventually, the clicking fades as they circle more and further away, eventually fading off and disappearing, leaving the two of you alone in the woods.
And I look around and go back into Hamid.
Yeah, if we're certain they're gone, I'll switch back into Hamid as well.
Looking over Aspen, I see the burns and stuff on her.
Absolutely. They are gnarly burns.
Hey, boss, if you want to turn around real quick, I just want to take a look.
Sure.
Look at the wounds, kind of assess them, and then activate Mother's Touch. I'll burn a willpower to do so.
Okay. I
I'll
believe
use
Mother's
my-
Touch requires critical successes to do aggravated damage healing.
I think anything over the damage taken. I'll look at it real quick. The subject heals superficial physical damage equal to the number of successes. If the number of the successes exceeds the subject's current rage, a single aggravated damage can be
Okay.
healed in place of a superficial one.
Great. So she's at rage 2 currently because of the aggravated damage taken, but if you can get over 2 successes, then yes, she can heal 1 aggravated. So these blistering, almost like greenish black wounds on her back.
5.
She heals. Some of them start to kind of close up, and some of the blisters start to smooth out. It's still pretty gnarly looking, but much better at this point. Some of the smoke starts to settle.
Sorry if it stings a little bit. It's starting to look a little bit better though.
Yeah, no, thanks. Your turn.
I'm need to take care of you. You got hit twice.
Your turn.
You'll turn around.
He is also at 2 rage because of the aggravated damage taken.
Okay, so I got a crit, so 4.
Okay, so you also heal the aggravated. Your wounds completely heal.
Thanks. Well, that was not fun.
That was awful.
Not what I was expecting at all.
Nope, but I guess we got information in a way.
Yeah, we know that apparently there's a giant cloud over the top of it, and being a yellow cloud makes me a little concerned. That's kind of what I was seeing.
Well, yep, they're probably connected. And that's really concerning if it's a cloud that's over the whole facility.
Uh, well, now what you want to do? You want to try to get a different one, or
I'm
I don't know.
worried that if we get another spirit to go over there and they get corrupted in this, it's already a strange relationship we have with spirits. And if we just start throwing them in like fodder to get information for us, I don't think that's going to bode well.
No.
I think we maybe have to talk to the rest of the pack and see what our next options are.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't notice that sooner. Should have noticed as they were coming down.
No, it's fine. It's new, something new every day. So don't feel bad about it.
Yeah. You gonna be all right?
I'll be fine. Are you going to be okay?
You're touched a little bit better than mine, I think.
Have that effect.
You don't need to be as gentle next time. I can take it. You can lay into it a little bit more next time. If there's hopefully there's not a next time.
I'll keep that in mind.
Not that this isn't great, but I don't mind being shirtless, but I don't know if you want to go get your clothing or new ones.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to put my burnt clothes back on, but we probably shouldn't go back to the pack, back to the cairn right now, just in case they're following us around. As your gracious and brave and caring and magnanimous leader, and as
humble.
your chaperone, of course, why don't we take you to the bar and go get you some clothes?
And a drink or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heading back to the car, driving down to the split helm. What's going through your minds after this interaction with the carrion spirits? Well, what was carrion spirits, now Banes, that were sent to Piney Point. Yes, there was some information discovered, but also kind of a tragic outcome for those spirits that were entrusted with this scouting mission. Aspen, we'll start with you.
As they're driving, she is thinking about how to even get a leg up with these plants, with Piney Point, with any of it, because every time we think we maybe have a step in the right direction, it seems like something else goes wrong. And navigating how to move through and take care of this problem is becoming farther and farther away as she thinks about it. There is a little bit of her brain that thinks about Lucas and really hopes, he says he's not, but really hopes he doesn't go back there because it could be worse the next time around. Or if anyone goes there for that matter. Not just him, but it's getting really scary out there, and the control is being lost as the days go by, and it's becoming frustrating in her brain, but she's trying to navigate it while also navigating everything else in her brain, so it's all kind of jumbled in there.
As you're thinking these thoughts, your phone buzzes. Lifting your phone, you see you got a text message from Artie. And as you open it, it's a meme that says, "Hang in there." And it's a cat hanging from a branch, except there is a wolf's head superimposed over the cat as it's hanging from the branch. Jace, what's going through your mind?
The constant up, not even hill, the up cliffside battle that is Tampa. Every time they feel like you get a foot forward, get that final secured step, it falls out, you tumble back down the side of the cliff. And this was a pretty long fall. These were spirits that are willing to help, and we sent them to a place where they became corrupted. And now that there are 3 additional Banes, balefire out there. So the concern for the other spirits having to deal with those banes out there, and any other Gru wandering around that don't know better, could be affected by this. Just trying to figure out what to do next as far as getting information on this place. He's a rat, he likes figuring this stuff out, but this place is becoming almost impenetrable.
The challenges keep mounting. It seems like every time you get a little bit closer, it just gets more and more dangerous. At what point do you just have to say fuck it and go for it? Because it seems the longer you wait, the more time you try to get information, the more prepared they get, the more dangerous they become. We transition now to our final scene of the evening. The Botanical Gardens at the University of South Florida. Lucas, you had heard in Stepford Hell that they were handing out seed packets here, saying that they were exotic plants from Spain. Now, you know that's a bunch of bullshit, but you wanted to follow up on this just in case, because you had a very, very special connection by the name of Louise, who works at the Botanical Gardens, and it's been some time since you've been back to visit. You used to volunteer here and help out when you could. In fact, you dropped off some supplies shortly after the hurricane to help in their rebuilding efforts after the disaster had struck. You also know that there had been plants left here before you'd even known what the plants were, and you had taken a sample from it some time ago. Now it seems time to make a return trip to see what exactly could be going on at the Botanical Gardens. With Jace off working with Aspen, you enlist the help of Jester to follow up, not only as backup, but because instructions say you should work in pairs, and she has been very knowledgeable about the plants as of late. She has been doing a lot of the legwork out in the field in finding and removing these plants, so she seems like a very worthwhile ally to have. So as the two of you arrive on your motorcycles at the Botanical Gardens, prepared to meet with Louise, the scene is yours.
Lucas will get off his motorcycle and put the helmet on the handlebars and look over at Jester.
I'll climb off, put the helmet on the seat.
You are not going to believe what I found out.
Oh?
Yeah. Me and Aspen went to the club, talked to Bruce. Good talk. He's a million miles an hour right now. That's a different story altogether. Bruce is Ghislaine.
Interesting.
Yeah. He kind of dropped a thing on us where he had seen Ryder do some stuff and remembered it. So me and Aspen started asking questions, and lo and behold, I sniffed him out.
Okay.
That's not all of it. Larry's kin.
He's... Wow.
He hasn't changed yet. He has no idea. It's been a week.
Yeah. It's been a week. Took Jace to get some blood work done. We're still waiting to hear from it. Eliza's contact actually might be a good contact for all of us, at least to have in a hospital. At least that's what I'm thinking. Um. Wow. Ryder had to have known.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
He was a kinseeker.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He. Well, I mean. He kept it to himself for most of the time that we knew him. But yeah.
It's wild.
Pretty sure that's how he figured out we were in town when we first met him. And he tracked Terrence down separately from us. So, yeah, he definitely knew about Bruce. Probably about Larry.
Yeah, you're much better judge on that than I am.
Oh, so how'd he take it, Bruce? I mean,
Like I said, he's overwhelmed. I think is a good word. But I think he had like 40-ish% of the story already. We just filled him on not quite 100 because he was looking rough towards the end of that conversation. Hey, he still took it well.
I mean, it's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. But he's still willing to work. So we watch out for them, they watch out for us.
Good. Good.
But I mean, aside from that, I got a friend here, Louise. She's a botanist, like a real deal botanist. She's one of the lead ones here. She's really good people. She hooks me up with stuff that I grow and lets me steal some seeds and grow some rare stuff and sell it on the market to get a little cash. So she's good people. You'll probably love her. She'll probably love you. So
Sweet.
yeah,
I'm excited to meet one of your friends.
I'm not the best friend, but she is definitely a friend. So she'll probably have some words for me. It's fine.
Yeah, I get it sometimes too.
So, as you go in to the facility itself, you start looking around for Louise. You find another volunteer, and they point you in the direction of Louise. She's out in the gardens, tending to some of the plants near the back. So you make your way out there. You can see Louise is walking amongst some of the taller, more exotic trees towards the back of the facility. She's got her big sun hat on as usual, her apron. She's got her bag of tools, and she's wearing some big, thick black sunglasses as it's a bright and sunny day. She's got gloves on, and she's tending to some of the plants with some clippers, pulling off some exotic vines that seem to be intruding, trying to remove some of the intrusive species to kind of clear out the garden as they're coming in. Both of you roll me a wits and awareness.
1 rage?
Yes.
Four successes.
4 successes also.
Looking around the gardens at the moment, there aren't any signs of any of the plants, any of the exotic, bad, icky plants in the nearby facility that you can tell. So everything seems so far on the up and up as you're walking around. But as you approach, she's facing away, working on one of the trees, just kind of clearing out some of the detritus of fallen leaves.
As I get closer, I'll just kind of smile. No rest for the wicked, huh?
No, I suppose not. She turns around to face you. Good afternoon.
Good to see you, Luis.
Yes, it's good to be seen. How can I help you? Roll me a wits and insight, Lucas.
Okay. Two successes.
There's something strange happening. The way she's responding with a lack of familiarity. Like she's treating you like she treats anybody. Like she would a student in the facility.
I kind of look at her for a second and glance over at Jester, then back. Luis, it's Lucas.
Yes, how can I help you?
Can I roll insight?
Sure.
I'm trying to see if she's like pretending not to know him or if she truly like does not really have a familiarity with him.
Sure.
Three successes?
She seems to not know either of you.
We were just looking around. We'd heard that you were passing out seeds from Spain very recently.
Oh, see, yes, we've gotten these exotic plants in, and as she dips down into her apron, she reaches in and pulls out seed packets. In doing so, as she dips down, you can see her sunglasses dip down, and then you see her eyes. The rim around her pupils is yellow. Yes, we've got these plants in. A nice new exotic strain of species. It is supposed to help cleanse toxins from the air. Highly recommended. Would you like one?
Of
And
course.
she holds out the packets.
I'll take a packet.
And you, Lucas?
Yeah, I'll sure. I'll take one. Are you feeling okay, ma'am?
Never better.
What are you working on there?
Oh, tending to the garden. It has been dirty. Needs to be cleaned.
Do you these seeds, do you have any examples of what these grow, what they look like?
Oh, yes. I'll take you to the special garden. Follow me. And she kind of moves away from the plant, putting her shears in her bag, and starts heading off in another direction, down one of the paths, gesturing for you to follow.
Look at Jester.
Oh, I'm leaning close to him.
That's not her.
I think she's been infected. What do you want to do?
Let's go see how bad it is.
Okay.
Following behind, she leads you down another one of the winding paths. But then there is kind of a dirt path, almost like a footpath, that breaks off from the normal concrete path, the walking path, the typical visitor path. This looks like a man-made footpath that breaks away, and it's new. Lucas, in all the times that you've been here, this path didn't exist before. This one has recently popped up. And she starts walking along the path out behind most of the plants that normally exist. She goes behind a section of trees, and this is where her garden is. Several 6-foot tall wrappings of the purple flowered vines with the eyes immediately lock on to both of you as you come up the path. About 4 of these tire-sized spore bombs sit in the center, surrounded by these purple eye-leaved plants. And then, up in the trees, are these pods that are hanging down. They're not quite grown yet, but they're about a foot long. And they look like they're hanging, not quite sprouted open yet.
Before we get too close, he'll just put an arm out in front of Jester just to stop her from walking and nod his head up into the trees of the pods and kind of whisper to her, "That's the flying ones."
I'll just look at him like I don't know what he's talking about. I'll be like, I will grab my or take my phone out of my bag and like slip the seed packet in for now, but be like, wow, this is very interesting, and then snap a picture of the hanging plants.
Yes, they are very beautiful. They are going to make quite a difference.
Oh, what kind of difference?
The good kind. The necessary kind.
Those trees look very sickly, though, that those vines are on.
They're getting better.
They kind of look like they're dying. Not gonna lie.
Things have to get worse before they get better.
Oh. Okay.
Lucas is just locked on to the eye ones. If they're staring at him, he's staring really hard back at them.
Well, you have a very lovely garden, and
Thank you.
I'll look to Lucas. Thank you for showing us, and I look forward to seeing what I can do with these seeds.
I'm sure you'll do something wonderful. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Look to Lucas. I think that's it, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll take Lucas by the arm. Well, thanks again.
Come
I
back
think we'll just-
anytime.
Sure.
As you leave the Botanical Gardens, she just stands, waving, smiling by the plants. You walk up the path, returning to the motorcycles. Lucas, as a touchstone has been damaged, you take 2 stains against Hoglosk.
Oh. I think our pack resilience.
It'll lower it down to
Helps
1.
with-
Yes.
Yeah, we'll lower it to 1.
And we'll roll to resolve that after the session. What's going through your mind? Or actually, I'll give you a moment to speak before we close the scene as you two return to the motorcycles, preparing to leave.
So we get back, Lucas just starts pacing. He's tapping the top of his finger on the pommel of his clave, just loudly as his ring also hits it and kind of makes a dinging noise. He's just shaking his head and pacing.
Do you know where she lives?
I could find out.
Do you want to plan a sneak in and grab her? Maybe it's not too late.
And your new friend help?
It would be good to have someone who's not us to do some blood work on him. Maybe we could come up with something to inoculate her with.
Yeah, see if she'll help.
Okay.
I'm gonna fucking carve her up.
I'll squeeze him on the shoulder. I'll help. You know that, right? Or if you want to carve her up, I'll just hold her down.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
As you climb onto your motorcycles, what's going through your minds? Lucas, we'll start with you.
Lucas lives in this bubble of confidence and untouchability. At least that's what he believed until just now, that he was capable of protecting everybody, and something got past him, and he's going to have a really hard time accepting that. And as he told Jester before about gas in the line, there might be a little bit more gas in the line after this.
Jester.
I'm worried about Lucas because he seems to be really close with this person, and it really sucks when your friends get hurt by these things. Hoping that we have time to be able to save her and she's not too far gone. Also, mentally planning to come back at the Botanical Gardens when they're closed and probably destroy that fucking garden.
Lucas, you have 1 dot of Hoglosk already, correct?
Yes.
Can you roll me 1d10?
1d10. 1 regular, not a rage?
Yep, just anything.
1 regular. A 10, so a critical.
So you succeed. You do not gain another dot of Hoglosk. But you are still angry, obviously. We'll just not stick with you for now. However, if this continues to get worse, could continue to mount. This is where our session comes to a close. But not without one last scene. We're back at the greenhouse, of course, in Piney Point. We find Vanessa laid in the grass. There are vines coiled around her hands. She lays with her eyes closed, smiling. As she opens them, her eyes are completely purple. I told you, you get in my way, I get in yours. You should have stayed out of my way, Lucas. Now it's just gonna get that much worse. Isn't it, puppy? And out across the garden, the massive green and brown dog laying in the grass, lets out a growl. In its laid position, it looks to be about 15 feet coiled up altogether. Its body about 10 feet tall as it just breathes in and out, snarling. And this is where our session comes to a close this evening. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to everyone watching at home. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media listed down below and in the description. And if you like what you saw here, come join our community. We have 200 plus amazing community members, and you could be one of them. So follow that Discord link and come join us. We'd love to have you. Stay tuned to St. Pete by Night this Friday over on YouTube. We've got another episode of Hellhounds, so go see what that other crazy pack is up to. There's the fallout of what happened at Stepford Hell last week, so go see what craziness is going to happen with that pack. It's just getting out of control, folks, and you're going to want to stay along for the ride. So go tune in to Hellhounds this Friday on YouTube, and we'll be back with another episode of Rage Across Tampa right here on Twitch on Tuesday at 10 p.m. We'll see you then. Have a lovely evening, folks. Good night.